Dropping out of school is a tragedy. Every student who doesn't have or who doesn't complete high school lacks many of the fundamental skills needed to thrive in our rapidly changing, information-rich society. And yet, many developing and developed countries struggle with this issue. What are we doing wrong? Why are we failing to educate our kids in ways that compel them? Maybe because we're not intellectually engaging them in learning. I almost dropped out of school. I was born in Guatemala. I immigrated to Montreal, Quebec, Canada when I was very young and grew up in rough socioeconomic places with parents who struggled with the local language but who worked hard to make ends meet. And I found school boring and irrelevant. Not enough hands-on projects and way too many projects that had no follow-ups, like one-hour conferences or once every 6 months workshops. Until a teacher and a principal started a theater program for us, a program that lasted the entire school year. As a dropout, you suffer when you can't find your passions or understand your talents. And so theater taught me not only to like going to school, but also to love reading, to get involved, to feel engaged and be motivated. And it also inspired me to pursue post-secondary education, theater in college, and then communications in university. I had found my passions, I had found my talents, and in retrospect, it inspired me to start a charity that now works to lower dropout rates. In 2007, after I graduated from Concordia University in Montreal, I heard about the dropout issue, and I managed to visit many low-performing high schools as a guest speaker. I spoke to thousands of kids about my work. I would get about 75 minutes per talk, and then I would save a good 15 minutes at the end to ask the kids one question. My question was, what would you like to see in your high school to stay motivated? They hesitated at first, but then they lined up behind the microphones that we had placed behind, around the room, the rundown gyms or auditoriums. And their answers were, you'll see. First of all, sir, we are tired of guest speakers like you. But they were right. Who thinks that a kid with learning disabilities, poverty problems, self-confidence issues, anxiety about bullying will be empowered by a speech, maybe for 2 minutes, but not on a long-term basis? And we will clearly not solve the dropout issue by thinking that a single short-term approach will keep those at-risk kids in school. Let me go back to my theater years for a few seconds. Back then, I learned to do handstands. And I like to use the handstand analogy when I talk about the dropout issue. To learn to do a handstand, you cannot learn it in a minute or in an hour. It takes time. So you cannot get motivated to stay in school in 1 hour. To learn to do a handstand, I had to practice, every day for many days. I would start like, this, and then I would fall, and then I would try again and fall until I managed to get it right, and I felt confident about it, a bit like this. And that's one of the core issues behind the dropouts. It takes time, and we need to stop thinking that it can be fixed rapidly. It can be fixed, but not that fast. So during my tour, those high school students told me, please make us part of projects that will engage us on a weekly basis, not just for an hour. And please give us the resources, the time, the people to make it happen. And one of the kids came up to the mic and said, could you, sir, come back once or twice or maybe 3 times per week to make it all happen, to help us? They wanted hands-on, real-world experiences. Whether they cared about the environment or technology or creative arts, they wanted to be engaged. And after my sessions, many teachers came up to me and said 2 things. Number 1, we'd like to start major projects, but we need people to offer us some expertise. Number 2, we don't ask our kids often enough what it is they want. And that's one of the core issues behind the dropout issue. We don't ask our kids what they want. Armed with this feedback, I came back to Montreal and had no solution. So I went online to find inspiration. I even browsed through TED.com and found talks about education that were compelling, clever, funny, but that gave no concrete solutions. You know, it's so easy to say, schools kill creativity, or we need to revolutionize the education system. That's not enough. And I believe that TED audiences and viewers are looking for more concrete solutions, and we need to take it one step further. So I went back to what the kids told me. Not that I was a bad speaker, but make us part of projects that will engage us on a weekly basis. That gave me the seed of the idea, and I immediately called one of the presidents or vice presidents at Concordia University, and I knew she could help. And the idea was simple, had never been implemented in such a way, and it went beyond one-hour speakers and one-day mentors. The idea was the following: hire university students or recent graduates in all fields and send them into low-performing high schools to work with teachers and at-risk youth 10 to 15 to 30 hours per week. So it all happens in the classroom or after school, and the coordinator gets help from businesses, from the university, from us, and from the school, but at the heart of the operation, you have the teachers and the at-risk youth. And Concordia said yes. So we matched graduates' backgrounds with real-world projects in these schools. The first one, robotics. Engineering students are working in the classroom to build robots and to get kids excited about science. Second one, fashion design. Fashion students are helping kids discover their creativity through fashion collections. Third one, cinema. Communication students are using filmmaking as a tool to develop language skills. Fourth one, entrepreneurship. Business students are shaping up the next generation of entrepreneurs by exposing them early on to the art of creating a business. Fifth example, video gaming. Tech and design students are helping kids and enabling kids to become creators of technology, not just consumers of it. And all of our programs make links with the curriculum, from science to technology to engineering to arts, language, mathematics. Our video gaming project even covers parts of the history and geography curriculum. And so we're going beyond STEM fields, and we're already at another level. So the idea caught on. Students in the most disadvantaged schools got access to these compelling activities. And these teachers had access to new expertise, but at the same time, students, the university students, gained practical experiences that complemented their studies, And it works because it is win-win. It works because we're finding the links between student engagement and this motivation to stay in school. It works because teachers are collaborating with us to change the way kids learn, to engage them in new ways in class and after school. It works because school boards and school districts are willing to invest into this new kind of 21st century education. And it works because our social return on investment has been evaluated at $17 for every dollar invested into Youth Fusion. And in 7 years, we went from seven coordinators, 7 university coordinators, to 200 of them in the schools, from 2 schools, disadvantaged schools, to over 92 right now, from 1 university partner to over 11 that give us funds to expand our program, from 1 business partner to over 40 that give us time and resources and money to make it happen, and from 150 at-risk youth in the classroom to over 12,000 of them that we work with on a weekly basis. And the results keep showing that it's all worthwhile. And now we're present across the province of Quebec, in Nunavik, in the James Bay, in Montreal, in Quebec City, a bit across the province. And we were just named in the top 10 highest impact charities across Canada. And as I stand here today, I can't help but think about what those teachers and principals told me a few years ago when I visited all of those schools. We don't ask our kids often enough what it is they want. And that's at the heart behind the problems of apathy and delinquency and dropouts. If we really want to empower our kids, we need to start listening to what they have to say. We need to understand that their ideas can have a positive impact on our own work. By seeking input from youth, we're engaging them in compelling activities, and we're transforming schools from a seemingly irrelevant chore into an engaging ecosystem, a place where these kids want to invest their time and spend their energy and time. And so we need, as a society, we need to stop going to places like, or to phrases like, let's empower schools. It's not enough. We really need to invest into 21st century education. We need to give the schools the resources that they need. We need to get kids thinking about what they want to be rather than wondering what they could have been. We need to get them thinking about careers that don't exist yet. We've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to keep a kid in school, and we are all part of that village. If you're a corporation, don't just give money. Enable your employees to give time and resources through well-structured programs. If you're employed by a business, convince your boss or colleagues to give time and resources, and don't give up until it happens. If you're at a university, bring that knowledge to the schools, to the local schools, through your professors and your students. If you're a teacher or a principal, be demanding. If you want support, ask for it. And if you're a parent, make sure that your child is exposed to many possibilities from a very early age. Give time, give resources, give money. But do so with a vision, an approach that is long-term, a place where kids will learn to persevere as though they were learning to do a handstand. Be part of the village.